Welcome to Work the Left Side. I am back in the Northeast again. I'm here this episode with Mr. Gunnar Rig. How are you doing, mate? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
Mate, I'm all good. Looking forward to this. So it's been on the books for a while. Been supposed to speak to you back and forth for
been a long
months.
time.
Yeah, I've got a bad habit of just like sort of seeing people or look at people's like reels or photos or footage and be like, I really want to speak to that person, and then it takes me a couple of months to I book everybody in like 3-month cycles, unfortunately. So it's kind of like, yes, we're going to talk, but it's not going to be for like another 2 months or so. So it's nice when it happens though. I was kind of like, yes, right, here we are.
Well, this is my first ever interview, so I'm honoured to be here.
Oh really, dude? Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for allowing me to pop your podcast cherry then.
No worries.
Yes, obviously I mentioned, I'm back up in the Northeast. I've had the pleasure of speaking to Big Lou Nixon on Monday. Spoken to numerous people, from Northeast previously, Drake, Roxy, Biggs. Dude, you guys, you love your wrestling up there, and the amount of talent that comes out of Newcastle is unreal.
There's a lot of talent. Yeah, we've got a lot of good training schools up in Newcastle now. Obviously, I've watched some of your videos, and there's one name that always comes up, and that's Rampage Brown.
Yeah,
obviously he's the legend of not just the Northeast, but of Britain, pretty much. So yeah, his training school is back open now. Rampage Training. So that's every Sunday. Give him a plug. Every Sunday,
nice.
2 till 3. Then we've also got Northern Grafter. That's HT Drake's training school. Again, loads of guys do both. So there's a lot of talent that's come out of those schools that you'll probably know or will know soon. So
very soon. That's the thing. I mean, 2 people as well. Obviously everybody knows Rampage. The dude's awesome. I've said it numerous times. It's like the best this country's produced. He's like the Obi-Wan of British wrestling kind of thing. But Drake is another guy who a few people have sort of said, you don't get his flowers. He's there, but a lot of people, I think they're starting to appreciate him now. But for a while, he's just kind of taken for granted. But it's like the dude is awesome.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he's responsible for a lot of where I am today. I owe a lot to him. The same with Rampage, and the same with Screwface Ahmed. He was a trainer as well. But yeah, HT Drake, he's one of these guys who's on a lot of shows and probably doesn't get the respect he deserves. A lot of people will see him on the show and go, "Wow, he's actually really good." And I've even I've been to shows and people backstage have been like, "Wow, I didn't realize he was that good." When they see him live and they realize. So. Yeah.
Well, I think it went viral the other day with the call it the Drake Destroyer. Jet Marshall and Ellis Barker from True Grit last weekend. It was just like, the dude just pulls it out of the bag whenever. But talking training, then let's get the generic box ticked. Obviously, at a certain point, you've seen wrestling and you thought, I can do that.
Yeah. So
why?
I'm a bit of a DDP in that I'm pretty old when I started training. So I hit the big 4-0 last year. So I was in that generation that kind of grew up on the golden era, and so I was a child when the golden era was about, so the Hogan and Bret Hart kind of times, and then I was a teenager during the Attitude Era. So I kind of feel I was at the perfect point as a kid to experience all of that. Then years and years went by. I was a TNA fan. I was an ECW fan. Then I was watching a WCPW show, and Cody Rhodes was on it, of all people. And crazy stories. So we went to the show, and there was a nightclub in Newcastle called Rise that people go to after. It's like a rock and metal nightclub. And we went to the nightclub, and Cody Rhodes was there. With all the wrestlers, so they did like a promotional thing with the club, and so I got speaking to the wrestlers. You can tell Cody Rhodes didn't want to be there. He was there in a suit. He was completely out of place. He was just like, "Get me out of here." But I started talking to the other wrestlers, and they said, "Oh, you've got like a look to you. You've got a good size. You should probably come and train. And I was completely wanking at this point. Like this was like 3 a.m. or something. And I was like, yeah, I'll go. That's fine, yeah. And a week later, I turned up at what was NGW. Rampage was the trainer there, and I turned up, and they all looked at me like, "Wow, we didn't actually think you were going to turn up, or even remember the conversation." So, and that's how it started. So, a drunken conversation, and here I am.
Nice. I spoke to somebody else recently that pretty much had a similar story of being like, yeah, just getting drunk one night. Their mate was doing it, and his mate's like, yeah, come along with me. And he's like, yeah, it's fine, great idea. And went the next day, kind of thing. And it was like, oh, actually, yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right. I can do this. Yeah. So, obviously, like sort of said, then you're doing the DDP thing. How did you find it when you started? Obviously, it must have been like feeling a bit like a fish out of water in sense to the ages of everybody there. That's just more determined. You'd be like, right, I'm going to show these young whippersnappers how it's done.
Yeah, I think it kind of gave me a bit of an advantage in that I came in with more of a maturity into like a training ethic and that kind of thing. But obviously the disadvantage that I'm older. But to be honest, I've never really had that hold me back, really. I can keep up with the younger kids these days. And this was back in the NGW days. So there was people like Benji, Shreddy, Lou Nixon was there. Lots of guys who are big names now. So it was a good group.
Mentioned John the Lou Nixon one, and he was like, I'm gonna, yeah.
He's a great guy, Lou. Him and Tim Strange, they're a bit like Max and Paddy on the road all the time.
Well, apparently, sat in the car singing Miley Cyrus from so I'll give you that mental image just to take away from this episode. There was people like Mark Mathers, and so I'm going to list a load of names now to put them over. So people like Mark Mathers and Henry Faust and Stoker or Keg Stacker and Zio Knox, one of the most underrated wrestlers in the Northeast. He should be everywhere, and hopefully he will be soon. Gio Adams as well. So there was a lot of talent that came from that pool. Wow, that is, it's not too shabby. It's not too. That's quite a good graduation kind of class kind of thing. You get everybody, you get all those people on a poster, and you're going to get bums in seats.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, I mean, obviously, well, you're not short of a few promotions up in Newcastle either as well. To be able to showcase the talent. So you've got, I'm not going to name any because I don't want to miss any off. But I know there's like a handful of promotions up there that will be putting on quality shows, and you've just got the wealth of talent to be able to kind of pick at and be like, we'll take you and you kind of thing.
Yeah, obviously North's the big one. That's the one everyone strives to get to. Then you've got shows like MEW. You've got Contracts, and then there's quite a lot of smaller shows around that. So
Win as well popped up last year, didn't they? They had a few baggy things last year.
Yeah, Benji. That's Benji's show. He's doing really well, to be fair, considering they've just started out. So they've brought in some big names, and he's doing a good job of putting big names against local talent. So he puts them over, and you get the big names in as well, and they get experience with working with the big names. So everyone's a winner for that.
That's it. That's how it should be done. You use the big names to give the local guys the rub, so the local people want to go and see the local guys at the next show. Yeah. So very smart booking.
Yeah. I actually. I actually made my debut on North, which was terrifying. Very first wrestling match ever at the biggest show in the Northeast. That was an experience. So I don't think many people will have done that.
Obviously you kind of start small. Like you sort of said, North is on a lot of people's lists to get to eventually, kind of thing. It's not a starting point. That's kind of like that's a checkpoint along the journey, kind of thing. Right. Once I get here, I'm doing some right. How does that feel then, dude? I mean, obviously, you're there. You've got the butterflies. Was it just a case of right, fuck it, let's do it?
A lot of that came from Rampage, where he won't let you go on a show till he's sure you're ready, and he wants you to be on a top show. He doesn't want you to start on a smaller show, mess up, and kind of look stupid. So he wants he wants you to be at kind of the top level. So we went in, and respect to Andrew Bowers for giving us all a chance. There was me, Mark Mathers, Henry Faust, and Stoker. So we all debuted on the same show as on the pre-show in a tag match. We were a bit naive, and the kind of brief we were given was to keep it simple. We didn't end up keeping it simple because, you know, it's like you want to impress, you want to do what you can, and it was okay. But the feedback we got was keep it simple next time. Yeah, we made it probably more complicated for ourselves than we should have. But it was an amazing experience, and the crowd reacted, and that was the main thing. So
there you go. So, like you said, yeah, I know it's obviously you got them nerves. Obviously, yeah, you know, if you keep it simple, probably walk away happy. The fans are like, okay, we're impressed. But yeah, you know, in your head, it's like, I can do so much more. You know, like feeling a little bit cocky, like, oh, we can do this bit, we can do this bit, and then in hindsight, yeah,
it's a bit of naivety that probably a lot of wrestlers have, where you're thinking about the moves, you think, oh, I have to do this. This will look flashy. This will look flashy. Whereas keep it simple, tell the story.
There we go. That's it. Tell the story, get the audience in. That's cool about Rampage, though. You know, that obviously, you know, he's training you up to such a level that, you know, he's comfortable for you to, because obviously it's his name.
It's his name. That's the thing. Yeah. It's a respect as well.
That speaks volumes. So, I mean, obviously, when you started, then we'll talk about, you know, the Gunnar Rig character. You know, obviously, he's a quality character. What was the inspiration? Did you, when you first got in there, you know, did you kind of think, right, okay, I'm starting to wrestle, I need to kind of come up with some sort of character, or did you just go in there thinking, right, I can just be me for a little bit, but just turn up, you know, to 11? Or did you just go straight in and thinking, right, no, I want to be a personality, I want to be something different?
I think it kind of started off as me, because the character is essentially like a rock fan, which a metal fan, which is pretty much what I am. And Rig is because my real name's Rigby, so that's kind of where that came from. So all my friends previously called me Big Rig, and I was tempted to use that as the name, but I thought it sounds a bit cheesy. It's like, I don't know if that would go down these days. Plus, these days you've got to have like a normal kind of sounding name, like first name, second name.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll keep the Rig because that sounds kind of cool. Then I needed to think of a first name, so I went through everything that I like to kind of think of a name that I could kind of copy. And what it turned out to be was, because I'm a big horror fan, it's the actor who played Leatherface.
Yeah.
So it's Gunnar Hansen. So that's where I stole that from. So.
Oh yes, I've never even put that together until you sort of said, you know, about the. I mean, perfect. But yeah, it's definitely better than Big Rig. You know, I hear Big Rig, I'm thinking, you know,
stage, which is totally fine. But
yeah. But not on a poster. You know, if I see that on a poster, I'm thinking like some sort of Diesel knockoff or something.
Yes,
going to come out.
That's what I wanted to stay away from. Yeah. But a funny story. I was doing a contract show, and they were doing a Comic-Con event in Sunderland, and SoCal Val was there. So she was kind of involved in the show a bit. So I ended up speaking to her, and she said, oh, you didn't get your name from that Gunner, did you? Referring to the one from TNA, if you remember him. I think he was in NXT for a bit as well. But apparently he's a massive right-wing idiot. So, and she wasn't a fan. So I cleared that straight away with her.
Yeah, that's the thing though. It's like, no, I got it from Leatherface instead. Yeah. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
When Leatherface is more preferable to. But yeah, dude. Obviously, because I'm kind of talking horror films. A quick shout out to FastCount while we're here. The T-shirt that they did for you, that design.
This one right here.
That's the Badger. Yep. How cool is that? But I love the fact that somebody pointed out the Maximum Overdrive sort of look to it.
Yeah. To be honest, that was never in my thinking. I was actually thinking more of Jewel, if you remember the film Jewel from like the 70s. So more of that. But yeah, I think that was it Reese or Rogan who said that? One of them.
Rogan.
It was Rogan, yeah. But that's a good shout, because that is a great film. Yeah, and it was kind of, yeah. So I'll tell you, the story behind this was really, it's the guys at Anarchy Brewery, where they do North. So they wanted me to get a T-shirt, and they designed their own T-shirt for me. And they'd taken a picture of the rig from Mad Max, the newer version, and they put my face on the front of it. So they sent me a picture of it, saying like, do something like that. So I kind of like that's a good idea, actually. So I kind of took that idea and then ran with it, and then these guys just blew it out the park and smashed the, like, I never thought it would be anywhere near that good. So
yeah, there we go. Obviously, they sponsor Work the Left Side, so we'll shout them out, and kudos, credit where credit's due. Yes, obviously, you've got the Gunnar thing now. The mask, was that your idea? Was that somebody else's idea? Did you kind of think, right, because I love masks in wrestling, you know what I mean? They're iconic. You got Kane's, Vader, just the first two that popped to my mind, Mankind. Yeah, what's the thinking behind the mask? Was that just to add intimidation?
Yeah, it was my idea. Growing up, I was a massive Kane fan, so that was part of the reason. But I didn't want to wear one during the match. So you're right. It was probably kind of more of a Vader kind of thing, where you can come out and take it off and do your match. And it's also just to stand out a bit more. I just wanted to look a bit different, and it gets different responses on different shows. Kids love it, which is great for the kiddie shows. They love that. They love the jacket. I don't know if it gets over as much with the adult kind of shows, but so
I don't know, man. I pop for it, and I think it's just you've just got that moment. It's just again, like when Undertaker used to take his hat off and stuff. You could that moment of where you just take your mask off, and if your opponent sells it right, it's like, oh shit.
I had a conversation with Axel Tixture. He used to be in WWE. He was in Sanity, and he was working North, and I was taking him to the hotel and stuff. And I took him the first night, and we were talking about the character and stuff. Then I picked him up the next day, and he'd got off his own back and actually looked at some of my stuff online, which I was like, wow, you didn't need to do that. But so he was giving me loads of feedback in the car, driving him to the show. And he was saying he really liked the mask idea, and he was telling me how I should work it with the entrance to the ring, because Eric Young does a similar thing, where he wears a mask now and does pretty much what I'm kind of doing. So that was great feedback from him. He was basically like, be really slow till you get to the apron, take it off, and then go crazy.
Yes.
And so I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. So it was good to get feedback from him on that. So.
That's it, man. I mean, that's awesome. It's like, especially, like you say in wrestling, you've got to be a human sponge most of the time, when people are like offering you, especially like guys like that, when they're offering you advice, you're like, right, yep, soak it in. And it's those little things that will make you stand out, like I said, slow movement, mask off, bam. It's just like, oh shit, the audience are going to be like.
He told me a good story about his character. So it was Triple H who came up with their character, apparently. They watched the film. Well, Triple H watched the film Smoking Aces. If you remember that, there's 3 rednecks family in there, and that's what he wanted them to be. So that's where that came from.
Makes sense. It's a Ryan Reynolds film, so yeah.
He also told me that most of his promos are Hatebreed lyrics that he just copies. I'm like, wow, that's a good idea.
Next time you're listening to an album, like, okay, yeah.
No, I've started doing that. I have started doing that just in case. Just if I hear something like that sounds cool, I'll write it down just in case it's something to say later on.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing as well with you guys. When I talk to people, it's like how creative you all are. You sort of like you're tapping into this thing, you're tapping into that thing, to like pull just inspiration from different things. And yeah, song lyrics from films. I mean, do you find yourself subconsciously doing it, or are you able to turn off and turn it on?
He actually told me to do that. He said, take inspiration from popular culture that's happening now, because that's what's relevant. Because everything in wrestling's been done before to a point. So you're not going to make an amazing new character that's going to be completely new. So feel free to steal from different medias. So that's what the top level guys do. So
why not? Yeah, do it. They're telling you to do it. Do it. You know what I mean? I think you're right. Exception of I have to say, with the exception of possibly Luchasaurus and Orange Cassidy, there doesn't seem to be many unique, new things in wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to the mask. The reason for the handprint and all that was it was originally black, and I got some feedback from the guys backstage at North that black doesn't show up very well on the camera, like the features of it. And I was like, that's totally right. So I got my girlfriend to make it up a bit, and then she was like, what do you want to put in it to make it stand out? And I was always a 5-Finger Death Punch fan. And I was actually thinking about, my original thought was, in Lord of the Rings, where the orcs have the white handprint on there. And I was like, I could do like a red handprint, like blood, but that's like, I could do the 5-Finger Death Punch one. So that's where that came from.
That's it. That's it. If you know that, it's kind of like, that's cool. But I can imagine some people being like, it's like the stormtrooper in the Force Awakens, or whatever, with the blood. It's got like the bloody handprint on the mask.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't want George Lucas coming after me. So.
George Lucas or J.J. Abrams. Like, but no, 5-Finger Death Punch. I think they'll be a little bit cooler about it. But I think that's the thing, with the mask, so it's the detail, it's things like that make it kind of stand out. And as you sort of said, that's half the job in wrestling. For yourself to get over, to be remembered, you have to stand out. As soon as I saw pictures of the mask, I was like, yes, this dude's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Even people like people who are 6'3", like myself, we still have to stand out. We still got to stand out against the Kempers of the world, who are doing amazing. I love Kemper. A lot of time for Kemper. So we've still got to stand out. And people think like, oh, you're big, you'll get booked everywhere. But it's not necessarily the case. You've still got to put the effort in and try and look different. So. Of
course, you have. And you've also got to, be good at what you do and work safe. They're not going to book you just because, it's not WWE back in the day. You're not the Great Khali. They're not going to just book you because you're tall and you can't. Before anybody goes at me in the comments, I know Khali could work back in the day before his legs kind of started giving away. So, but yeah, that's the point. Just because you're big, you're not going to walk into a promotion.
It's a conversation I talk with Kemper about all the time. We talk backstage at North shows and things, and we don't want to be just like the lumbering big guy who just does the big guy moves. We want to be able to do like the occasional flip, that kind of stuff. Obviously, leave the flippy stuff to the flippy guys. Yeah. But every now and then, we'd like to pull out something random just to turn it up a bit.
That's it. Have something in your arsenal. You can pop out a little cheeky move and pop the crowd. But obviously, Kemper's got what I've dubbed the Van Kempernator. He can go coast to coast if he wants to sometimes.
Yeah. You know what it is? He's the nicest guy backstage. Like he's so humble, and I've seen him like ask people if they'll take his moves, which is like you very rarely see that. It's just very nice. So him and Chili Heatwave as well. He's a great guy. A lot of time for Chili.
He's coming on the show soon.
Yeah.
We love Chili. Well, obviously, we're talking about guys like this. You've dipped into the pursuit pool a few times as well, have you not?
Yeah, just the once. So I obviously they're doing amazing. They're like blowing up the internet with their stuff. So I thought I want a piece of this. I want to get involved. So I spoke with Nathan Black. It was like 3 days before a show, and he said, "Oh, luckily someone's pulled out, so we can probably fit you in." He said it'll be in a tag team match. Is that okay? I was like, "Yeah, I'll do whatever. That's all fine." Then I found out it was going to be me and Tim Strange, who I've never worked with before. So that was like really nice guy. Love to work with him. Against Lou Nixon and Radu. I didn't know Radu at the time. I obviously knew Lou. Again, really nice guy. A lot of time for him. Yeah. It was a really fun match, and it was different from what I normally do because it was a lot of comedy. It was essentially like a comedy match. So I tried new things in there that I wouldn't normally do, but it was a good experiment to kind of be a bit different.
It's on paper, you wouldn't think you've got you four guys in a ring. You know, the fans aren't automatically going to go to comedy match. Yeah, you know, that makes like what, you know. But that shows the diversity, and it must have been good for you to be like, right, I can stretch these bones a little bit for something different. Like so, say, because obviously with the comedy side, you work in the audience more. You're trying to, you know, you get a reaction from mannerisms, from movement, as opposed to moves.
Yeah, exactly. And we kind of went with a silly concept where Radu was a vampire. We thought he was a vampire. So he would end up biting us, and then me and Tim would be like arguing, are we going to turn into vampires now? What's going to happen?
Obviously, it's Hit Pursuit. It's on one of the in-house shows, so it's on YouTube. Yeah, go watch it, you know. And I think Radu is still to this day hanging on to the Radlu gimmick. You know, he's desperate to form the tag team with Lou Nixon.
Hopefully they carry that on.
So, but yeah, man, it's awesome as well because that's, you know, again, when I'm talking to people, you know, obviously they've got love for, you know, the schools that they train at, that they started at. But I think a lot of people are realizing it's a good idea sometimes just to go out and dip your toe in somewhere else and just see what they're doing, see what's different, see what clicks.
Yeah, absolutely. So this kind of, I've worked with Liam before on MEW, so I knew how good he was, and obviously everyone knows how good he is, and everyone knows he's up there with he's up there with the top trainers of Britain. So I would like to get down there and do a training session as well. I haven't managed to do that yet, so that's something I'd like to do.
Yeah, I'll look forward to seeing those highlight reels when Nathan puts them together. Because if you get on one of those highlight reels, you know, you've got hundreds of thousands of eyes on you straight away, like bosh. There you go.
That was another possibly selfish reason for doing it as well, because lots of eyes on it. So,
dude, I'll fault you. You know, you'd be daft not to. You know, you get that kind of exposure. Because that's another thing as well. That you know, when I'm talking to people, you know, social media kind of pops up. You know, it's either very Marmite. You know, some people proper go into it and use it to get bookings, to build feuds. You know, they use it. But obviously, that only kind of suits certain characters or certain personalities.
Yes.
How do you feel with it, kind of thing?
Yeah, it's something I'm not the best at. I'm not the best at doing like promos from my character's point of view. You look at people like Gene Money and like Ian Skinner, they've just got like the raw natural talent. People like Commander Nash, like that's who they are. They don't even have to think about it. Whereas I'm not my character really. I'm not that outgoing, so I need to work more on putting myself over on the internet in that kind of way.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like I say, it suits. I can kind of, but then again, you've kind of got that mystique. You know, like you're the big guy, metal, mask. Maybe in your case, you know, you're one of the exceptions where it just doesn't suit your character kind of thing. You don't have to. It might take away from not the mystique, but you know, that kind of just the aura.
Yeah, it probably doesn't help that I have a bit of a posh voice, which doesn't really go with the character. So. It's okay for matches I can shout and grunt. That's fine. Yeah.
Well, dude. I was kind of like when I was talking to you, and we started talking. I was like, "Oh, your voice is so silky smooth." I was expecting like,
well, I'm not actually from the northeast, so hence I don't have an accent. So I'm actually from Chester in the northwest originally.
So you just popped over.
Yeah, I came up to Newcastle University. Like years and years ago, and just stayed here ever since. So on a region.
It's weird though, isn't it? Just to kind of sidebar, you know, how some people pick up an accent like that and other people just don't. So I've lived in Leeds for like 20 years, and I'm pretty proud of the fact that I don't have a Yorkshire accent. Apologies to people listening in Yorkshire. You know, love you. I just don't want your accent. You know, I'm a Nottingham boy. I like having a non-accent. Basically, Nottingham doesn't have an accent.
Well, one of the first gimmick I was given well, kind of gimmick. So this was at MEW. So Dan Finch brought me in. Massive respect to Dan because he's ran with me and he's given me a lot of opportunities and he's made me the champion, which is insane. So he's put me in matches with like Amir Jordan and Liam Slater and Gene Money and Joe Blazer, people like that. So mad respect for him. But the first thing he did with me was he called me the Mexican monster. And I'm the least Mexican looking person you'll find.
Is that basically wrestling code for you ain't talking?
Possibly. I think that it was mainly because he had a manager called Jose who was a luchador kind of manager and he needed someone to go with him. So that's where it came from.
Yeah, any Mexican wrestler that's in Britain, they don't get mic time, they don't get to cut promos. You just do your you let your in-ring action do the talking kind of thing.
The funny thing was he always, for some reason, he introduced me as from the jungles of Tijuana, and I'm like, hold on, Tijuana is a border city in the middle of the desert. There's no jungles there.
So from the cactus of Tijuana.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, talking belts as well then, because that's always more interested in getting people's takes. When you get a belt, when a promoter obviously has that much faith in your ability, you've impressed them, and they obviously feel like you can be the flagship person of that promotion. They're entrusting you with the main spot, basically.
Yeah.
Again, titles are they're not Marmite. Everybody loves a title. Everybody appreciates a title and what they stand for. But some people see them differently in regards to, it's a storyline prop, or it's just general like, no, this is fucking a badge of merit kind of thing. This is a badge of honor.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm over the moon to be the champion. I'm not necessarily precious about titles and like that, like anything like backstage or anything like that. I'll do what's best for the business, what's best for the company. If the promoter thinks I'm the best person to do that, then I absolutely will do that. But I'm not kind of like the one who's I want the title kind of thing. I understand that it's part of the business, but yeah, it's a massive honor to be given this responsibility. So, especially when I look at the people who've held it before me, people like Adam Maxted and HT Drake, Screwface Ahmed, my trainer, Primate back then. So there's a lot of big names who've had it.
That's it, and then that's what it just must, like I say, you can't help but it must just be a genuine emotion.
Yeah.
Like when you win the belt, as much as obviously wrestling fans like X, Y, or Z, the emotion is real because you have been entrusted with this thing.
Yeah, they've got a good crowd at MEW. He sells out every time. It's the same people who come every time, so it's always a good atmosphere. And for some reason they love me, so and I roll with that. And yeah, no, it's been really good. It's given me a lot of confidence as well to do things in other companies. So yeah, it's been good all around.
Oh, that's the thing in wrestling, mate. Half the battle is this, half the battle is that. It must be like so many different halves, but part of it is confidence. If you're going into something with confidence, dude, you're walking on water. Your matches are going to be elevated because your confidence is high.
Yeah, I would say it's like 70% if you're confident. Obviously, you've got to have the skill as well.
Yeah.
But if you have confidence in your abilities, then you get to that point where you don't have to think about it, and it's just easy for you.
Second nature.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I'm at that point yet, but
well, obviously, if you're not there, you must just be on the fucking cusp of it, mate. Because you're doing something right, obviously. So we mentioned Drake earlier. We mentioned Rampage. Shout out to Screwface as well, aka Primate. The dude's been tearing up for a long time. I remember seeing him in Tidal at Leeds Uni. He was a regular at Tidal for a long time, kind of thing. And yeah, it's one of the best that I've seen live. It's just an absolute force. So a massive shout out to him as well.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to him for a long time, to be honest. I don't know what he's doing these days, but
well, he's done something right in regards to the trading rights kind of thing. So, Private or something. But well, fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed. I know he kind of dipped out of it a while, but Yeah, I was always a big fan of Primate, and again, I don't think he ever got the props that he deserved. So I'll shout him out now on this as a blast from the past. So yeah, so with the character, are you leaning into it? I'm guessing, the character's got an ongoing evolution.
Absolutely.
Yeah, have you got any ideas of what's going on down the line? Is he going to sort of turn full?
Yeah, I've kind of spoke to different promoters, and they're like, someone who gave me some good advice was Rory Coyle. He kind of said, look at if your character was an action figure, what would it look like? I thought that was a good way of thinking about it to make it stand out. Like he said, his would be him with a bag of videotapes. So yeah, I thought that was a really good way of looking at it. So I'm kind of evolving it at the minute to kind of like a biker kind of trucker kind of look, to kind of stand out a bit more. So it's definitely evolving. I'm not sure what into, but we'll just keep going.
The evolution, man. Obviously not the faction. It's the evolution of Gunnar Rig. That's the thing as well, when you're doing this kind of sort of thing, I can imagine, your brain's just going into overdrive, it's all the cogs are firing, and you're like, when you come up with a character, somebody kind of said to me once, like, when some people come up with characters, they even create like backstories for the characters. They have like an origin and like in their head for this character, so they can kind of set like a moral compass for them. Be like, right, they would react to this situation this way, or they would react to this situation this way, or they might react like this to winning the title, for example, kind of thing, based on their moral compass or their backstory. If that makes sense.
Yeah, Rory kind of said something about that too, where he said, so I'm giving away all of his advice here. But he kind of said, why is your character fighting? What's he fighting for? What's his motivation to go and do that? So that was something I still haven't worked out yet. So I'm still thinking about that. So.
That's it, though, man. Like it's always a work in progress. So once you've kind of once you've got that kind of down, you'll probably find that certain other things kind of drop into place, and you're like, okay, cool. We can tweak this, tweak that. Yeah. And then Gunnar Rig levels up, and it's just going to be continuously, leveling up as you go along.
Yeah, I mean, my very initial idea was actually DDP's character from The Devil's Rejects, where he's like a bounty hunter.
Oh.
So the motivation would have been money, and I was kind of had the idea I'd be like a hired gun where someone would pay me to be this kind of backup, or that kind of idea. So.
Dude, that would have worked as well, in fairness. I'd obviously love to go on a rig thing, but as a backup, that's a pretty good shout. Because I'm trying to think, as soon as people tell me like ideas for characters, I'm like, right, have I seen that before? Have I seen that in British wrestling before? Can I compare that to anyone else?
Yeah.
And maybe, but nothing's really jumping out. I mean, I think Sash Money Cash has got some, dude entitled that he pays to be his muscle.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now for the life of me. That's going to actually book the crap out of me. I would generally apologise, but it's not commonplace, so you can probably do it, and it'd be like, okay, that stands out.
Plus, at the time, it was a way to think about getting in without necessarily being in a match straight away.
Yeah,
so you can like get experience of that kind of thing. I did the complete opposite. I just went straight into North, but
flipped on its head.
Yeah. Exactly.
I love the DDP thing as well. You straight start the episode. Yeah, man. You did it DDP style. Started off late, and then one of your first ideas was DDP from Devil's Rejects.
Yeah,
I'm sensing a theme.
Theme there. Yeah.
You're doing the DDP yoga in your spare time?
I've not. I probably should, being the age I am.
Give it a couple more years and stretch it out. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm feeling okay at the minute. So I've got Joe Blazer is my personal trainer. So he's sorting me out. We've just done the cutting phase. We're just going into the bulking phase now. So
are you watching everything you eat, watching the macros?
Yeah. Keeping all the calories.
Dehydrating.
Yeah. And he's been brilliant. Like, he's really good at what he does. Really good at motivating you. So.
That's it. At least you've got somebody in your corner that's there kind of thing. Because that's another thing, in British wrestling now compared to, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago kind of thing. There's probably a handful of guys that's, not to besmirch anyone, but there's, at a certain point, there's probably about a handful of guys that looks like professional wrestlers. You know, they had the body, they had the build.
Yeah.
But that's becoming a lot more commonplace now. You know, it's like everybody's taking it that little bit more serious. Everybody's, not to say they weren't taking it seriously, but they're taking themselves seriously. You know, they want to look the business.
Yeah, I won't say any names, but he's got like former NXT UK guys under, like he's teaching them about, he's PTing them. So it's even high level guys they're still trying to work it out. For me, it was just like, I'm 6'3". I probably should try and be the best I can because I've got like this natural advantage of being tall anyway. So we should probably see what we can do. So.
Dude, definitely. And it's nice to know you're not just resting on your laurels. Like you sort of said, you know, some people could just like, I'm 6'3", I'm just going to go in there and just fucking steamroll everyone because I can. But, you know, it's not going to get you very far. It's not a long-term plan.
No, absolutely. No.
But, dude, yeah, kudos. I'd say anybody puts the effort in that sense. I know lots of guys, you know, absolutely tear it up. And it's not just the in-ring work, it's the outside of the ring. It's get the bodies, it's getting the, you know, their heads into shape as well, getting their minds into shape. Everybody seems a lot more positive within the business now than they were, again, like 10 years ago. Everybody seems really happy to be elevating everybody else up. Like they know it's for the greater good. You know, as a scene, it's just going to get stronger if everybody elevates everyone.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what we were saying before about go to different training schools and try different things. And that should be encouraged. Go to seminars, learn different things that you'll never learn. Like I just did one recently. Big Saxon Huxley. So he was telling us about what he'd learned in Japan. And is it New Japan or Noah? No, I think it's Noah.
Noah.
So just different ways of doing things, how they do it over there, and how he changes his character to work the Japanese way. Because it's all very off the cuff and not kind of planned in advance. So you have to be able to work that way. So
it's more of a shoot. Yeah, there's more of a shoot element in there.
More of a shoot. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So that was good thing to learn from him.
Well, also he's teaming with, you know, Tim Thatcher at the minute over there as well. So, you know, he's tearing up with the best of them. So again, he's one of those guys, you know, he speaks, you sponge, you soak it in.
And then from the other side, there was Grizzled Young Veterans, went to one of theirs. Again, you learn in the American kind of ways of doing things. So everyone has different opinions. And like, for everything, there's not a definite way of doing things in wrestling. There's styles and there's different techniques. Obviously, there's a certain way of doing an armbar, that kind of thing. But like, there's different ways of getting into things. So it's good to learn those different ways and why they think that's the way you should do it. So you can take that away and make your own opinion.
That's it, or you can try it. And I think anybody, you know, who knows what they're talking about will say it doesn't work for everyone. Nothing works for everyone, kind of thing. You know, they could tell you to do something. It works for them 10 times out of 10. You try it, it's like, it's just not clicking. You know, the fans aren't reacting to it. It's just not resonating. Somebody else tells you something different. It's like, right, okay, that works. Right, we'll do that. Has Ken Pro ever told you about his 5-day seminar with Rampage?
Yes, I was not at that one, but I was at the one before with him. That was where I first met Kemper. He was very young back then. So, I was down at UKW, I think it was called. Down there, yeah. That was my first experience of a 20-foot ring. So that was an eye opener. Because the normal ring is a 16-foot. So.
Even somebody your size is having to take an extra couple of steps, you know, when they're running, kind of thing.
It was more the fact you whip someone off, and then in the 16-foot ring, they're back on top of you straight away. You kind of stood there waiting. Okay. So you felt busy during that time.
Yeah, you just like react to facial expression, emote. Yeah. But yeah, obviously, if anybody don't know, just Kemper touched on it on the episode when I talked to him. But he's saying by day 5 of the Rampage thing, he was like, no, everybody was like, can we just sit and talk about stuff? please don't make us go back in the ring. We just want to, let's I don't know, do some promos. We'll just watch some videos and analyze matches.
Yeah, no, it was intense back in the day. He's toned it down a bit these days, so it's still intense, but it's toned down a bit. And Kevin,
I'm not going to say he's getting soft in his old age.
No, he's not
go back and bite me in the arse. But yeah, he's been a little bit nicer.
Yeah, the thing with Rampage is it's the knowledge and the little things that you would never think of, and then when he says it, you're like, oh shit, that's obvious. That's
light bulb moment. Yeah, like I said, yeah, it's like anything though, isn't it? You know, yeah. Until I hate it when you're doing something, somebody says, "Oh, it's just this," and you're like, never even clicked, never even thought about it. Now you've said it, totally freaking obvious.
A perfect example is I would take the wrist and to reverse it. Well, someone would take my wrist to reverse it. I would put the elbow under and duck under, and then take theirs. And he was like, "You shouldn't do that because it makes you look smaller. Because you're a big guy, you should always keep your head up. You should grab the wrist and drag it off, because that's what a big guy would do." And you're like, well, yeah, that's obvious. Why didn't I think of that? It's like,
but yeah, it's a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Dude. So I'm have to kind of keep an eye on. Right. Look, I've got something over there. So we got the right. Gunnar. We talked. That's another thing as well, man. I was kind of looking at your character. You mentioned Devil's Rejects earlier. The DDP thing. And I mean, in the nicest possible way, I could just kind of see you. I don't know though. I suppose it's kind of a Bray Wyatt thing in it. I was just thinking, like the main dude from the Devil's Rejects, with the white beater vest. Just big. Because he's a big guy. He's got a big stance to him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I could kind of see like that working. But yeah, in hindsight,
we kind of did.
That was Brody Lee, really, wasn't it?
There was a company that's not around anymore, where we Avant-Garde. I don't know if you knew about them at the time. So they had a different way of looking at wrestling, where they wanted to do more like theatrical kind of videos, and the wrestling was kind of the background like thing. So there was me. There was Mickey Stoker or Keg Stacker, and we were in a group who were essentially the Wyatt family. So we kind of did that angle, and I enjoyed doing it. But obviously, it's been done a million times. But we had a lot of fun doing that.
So it wasn't just me then. That's okay. I don't feel less daft saying it out loud.
No,
as long as someone else has kind of been like, okay, I can kind of see, I can see that. But yeah, that's the thing. It's what we touched on before, mate. With regards to, there's not a lot in wrestling that hasn't been done previously. So to come up with something, that makes you stand out. I think, like I said, I've stopped myself from saying it. But I was going to say half the battle is getting noticed.
It is.
But if you put you on a poster, mate, my eyes are going to be like, the hell's that? And that it gets, obviously, that helps with the titles. It helps, like I say, put bums on seats. But you've created a character that goes on a poster and automatically gets people's attention, I think, anyway.
Oh, I appreciate that. That was kind of the aim. So hopefully that works.
It's just a mask, it's a coat, it's the whole get up. So, right, obviously, I'm going to ask. Everybody's got a list, of people they want to work with, promotions they want to go to. We've touched on it before. North's on that promotion for a lot of people. You tick that box off straight away. You're like, yeah, finished it, job. Where have you got your eyes on anywhere, or to go to work? Do you want to venture back over to the northwest? Try and conquer the old land.
This year I'd like lots of goals to. Sounds harsh to say, but get out of the northeast, because the people in northeast will tell you it's notoriously difficult to get out. Because we're kind of so far up the country. It's not necessarily forgotten about, but someone needs to pay for you to come down. So unless you've got a car of people, then yeah. So people like Tidal, True Grit, Soft Pro, that's kind of my aim to kind of get to the down Yorkshire, Lancashire kind of area. Target across in Carlisle would be a good one. So
yes, they're tearing up at the minute. They're doing some really good stuff. I could see Gunnar fitting in with the Sov Pro crowd quite well. They've got the kind of revolution going on. I think the Gunnar Rig character would just absolutely tear it. Gunnar Rig versus Eastern Rees. Gosh. There we go.
Well, one of the advantages of having HT Drake as a trainer is he also builds rings and loans out the rings. So it's very easy to get in the car and go down with him when he's on the show or when he's doing the ring and just talk to people down there. So I've been down to Soft Pro a couple of times. They're doing some good stuff there. Les Battersby was on it. So
we're talking wrestling. They're doing great stuff. Les Battersby. I love wrestling.
That's the thing. It's something different. So and it made the news. So
exactly. That's what I mean. It worked. You got eyes on the product. You got people talking. I know so many people questioned it when they announced it, and I was like, "Oh, that's a smart move." They know what they're doing. Obviously, Drake is constantly getting booked at True Grit. He's at the next Tidal show. So, dude, if you get a chance, mate, jump on the band with him. I'd love to sort of see you down here, just tearing it up. I think there's obviously we've got Kemper as a local boy, but there's always room for one more big man just to kind of slap me with.
You never know.
So, I mean, obviously,
one of my big goals is to get maybe not an international booking, but like outside of the UK. So that would be contract. I've recently just joined. I think it's OIWA in America. So it's kind of like an NWA kind of thing where it's like a group of companies.
Yeah, like a collection of promotions.
Yeah, so they're now the UK representative of that group of things. So 5 of their guys went over to Dallas and did a show in Dallas with them. And there was people like PCO, there was Jacob Fatu on the card. So that would be something up there to do. I'd love to do that.
That would be nice. Or you could start doing death matches and get Lou Nixon to take over next.
I'll be honest, I don't think I could do death matches.
I think it takes a special kind of someone to to do that.
You have to have a special mentality to do that.
Yeah, and plenty of red stripe apparently. So the obviously you said where Newcastle is, it's tricky to travel a lot of times. That's why you tend to notice, anybody who knows wrestling notices like a lot of guys at the Newcastle shows. You end up going, instead of coming south, you go north. You end up working Scotland. A lot of Scottish talent comes down to Newcastle as well, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know Benji uses a lot of Scottish guys. I think he's doing some kind of exchanges with some of the Scottish guys for Win. So,
like ICW, Discovery, things like that on your on the list.
If the opportunity arose, I'd love to go there. I know Marty Jones does a show down in Wales, which is kind of near my hometown. So it's probably about as close as a hometown gig that I'm going to get. So that might be an option.
That'd be immense. So that's the thing, though. I mean, like I sort of said, you've held belts, you've held titles. People have entrusted you with the top spot within promotions. It's not just me blowing smoke, dude. You're obviously doing something right. You're cracking on, and you're not even kind of halfway there, kind of thing. But just from talking to you, I know you're in a constant flux of evolution. So the Gunnar Rig character has got legs, and I think you're going to run for a long while with it. So
I like to feel the best is yet to come. So
yeah, I would second that comment easily. So I look forward to it. Yeah, as hard as it is, next time you're with Drake, don't even tell him. Just jump in the back of the van and then just pop out when he gets wherever he's going and be like, yes.
Oh no, he's always happy to help. So
that's another thing about him. Is people don't realize. I don't think is like I said. It's the ring stuff. I think TNT have shouted him out. Any weapons needed to be made for like TNT and stuff is like, I think Drake's the man to.
He builds loads of stuff for them. So TNT would be another good one. Another one I'd like to.
I would say in 12 months, if half of the promotions we've talked about haven't been ticked, I would genuinely, honestly, hand on heart, be very surprised.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'll do my best.
Yeah, dude, just do what you do. Because yeah, as I said, what you're doing is absolutely smashing it. So just keep doing that. Right, I'm going to sort of sidebar, just take it away from wrestling for a minute, because again, anytime I talk to people who like films, I can't help myself. I'm a massive film geek. I love X, Y, and Z. And Sean only on recently he only watches horror films, so I'm always interested when talking to other horror fans. Putting you on the spot, top 5 horror films.
Oh, 5. Hellraiser has always been the top one for me. Even 2 and 3. Candyman. Big fan of the Friday the 13th series. Do you want me to pick one of them?
Well, just as a whole, or just
as a whole, I love all of them. But if I had to pick one,
even 10.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. Number 6.
Jason goes to space.
Jason Lives is I think is the best one. So what was that? The Thing.
Oh,
Thing's got to be in there. And I am a massive zombie fan, so I will go with Dawn of the Dead, the original.
The remake's all right though as well. I do actually quite like it.
The remake is good. Yeah.
It's probably Zack Snyder's greatest moment, and DC fans, you can come at me if you want.
I'm a big fan. Aside one thing, I'm a big fan of a recent film called The Ritual. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh.
Where it's in the woods.
Oh no, I'm thinking of something else. Somebody put me onto like this. It's the most B movie film I've seen, a horror film, but it is absolutely ridiculous. But it was so good. But it felt like an old school, horror film kind of thing. It's like one of the oldest horror films I've seen in ages. I can't remember for the life of what it's called, but it had a ritual in it, so I thought that might have been it. I'll get the name of it. I'll tell you about it. You've probably seen it, but if you haven't,
let me know.
Yeah, mate, it's awesome. I'm always curious because like horror is very easy to put in a box, but when people give me the top 5, there's very ever rarely any crossovers. There's so many different things out there.
So many different and so many different types. So.
But The Thing is a great shout. I only watched that recently for the first time. I was absolutely kicking myself because I'm a massive mark for Kurt Russell, but I just never got around to watching that film. And it's one of the few films that generally made me jump. When they're testing the blood. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The suspense in it is insane.
Oh. I made a funny noise and everything. I jumped back and I was like, oh! Wife was howling.
Practical effects. We need more practical effects back.
That's it. Suspense, practical effects, build it up. But yeah, dude. Obviously, thank you for taking the time for talking to me. I'm hoping we haven't gone too long because I can't actually see. Normally, I'm able to see the clock at the top.
No, we've just hit the hour.
We just hit the hour.
Go, perfect.
I'm getting better at this. There we go. So, I was like, I was like, shit, because I was like, I've already been talking like 40 minutes. I can't wrap it up yet, but I was like, we can't have done because assessing the situation. I was like, right, I'll risk it for a biscuit. I'll start wrapping it up. And hopefully, you don't look at the clock and be like, oh, he's only talked to me for 40 minutes. What the fuck?
We're good. We're spot on. The promoter is happy you haven't gone over. So, in your match. So.
I'm getting better. Oh, dude, right, yeah, quick sidebar on that. Is obviously, is that a thing? Are you so self-aware? Is that, you just get it drilled into you being like, look, you've got 10 minutes, you've got 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
You do not go over that time or we will.
Yeah. We get drilled in training as well, so it's definitely it's massively important, especially when you get to the shows like North, because it has to run to time. And if you run over time, you're taken away from the main event, and that will not go down well.
No. But if you say that, I think a majority of British wrestling fans will back me up and be like, they've been to a 3-hour wrestling show that they walk out of like 4 hours later kind of thing. And like, yeah, that one a little bit long.
We've all been there, yeah. And to be honest, the refs obviously play a lot in that. If you have good refs, they'll keep you on time.
Amazing shout.
Last minute shout out to Ref Katie, who's training with us. She's learning the ropes. She's getting all up and down the country, training under Rich Swift. So she's training from the best. So look out for her.
Okay. Yeah, huge shout out. Anybody who knows Work the Left Side knows we love the Zebra Army. I've had numerous refs on here as guests. I think what they do is hugely underappreciated and needs to be shouted out. So yeah, huge shout outs. Refs, we love you. Do your job and keep everybody on track. It's the thing is, it's the ref's job to keep you big burly guys, in line. Like, right, we're going home.
It's always funny because she's tiny as well. So when she stands next to like me or Stoker, it just looks a bit crazy. So.
Like, I think again, just a quick side, but I think Lee Evans did a sketch years ago about like rugby players just like getting in line when the littlest ref comes on and the referee's like bossing these rugby players around and they're like, okay, sorry, and they just go off and do what they're told. But yeah, that's what referee always remind me of, wrestling referees. I'm like, you're a lot braver than I am. I won't want to get in the middle of these two guys.
No.
Do you want to plug your socials, dude? Do you want to know where people can obviously see what shows you're on?
Yeah, so one of the other good things about Gunnar Rig is I'm the only person with that handle in both Twitter and Instagram. So it's Gunnar Rig, literally that. Shows coming up. I'm not on it, but I'll promote it. There's the North NCL Cup coming up. That's the 30th of March at Anarchy Brewery. I'm not sure if it's sold out yet or not, but it probably will. The next contract show is on the 13th of April. That's up in Bedlington Social Club. The same day, so I'm doing a double on this day, we've got Turnal, which is a new promotion up in Newcastle. They're debuting 13th of April, King Street Social Club. I've written this down, by the way. I'm not just doing this off the top of my head. And the big one for me is MEW's YI Mania 7. So that's their big show. So that's the 19th of April in the Innisfree in Longbenton.
So yeah, you've got the bookings coming in. Another new promotion in Newcastle. You guys love competition up there. I mean, anybody who's even thinking about starting a promotion in Newcastle must second guess themselves and be like, right, no, okay, well, we'll do it.
Yeah,
they've got to go into it having confidence. That right, we can do this.
Absolutely, because there's a lot. You can't just do the same as what everyone's doing. So.
No. So kudos to them. I hope they smash it out of the park. Obviously, like I say, they're turning up. They're going to be on the scene. They've got to offer something different. So I'll be interested to sort of see, what they're offering that is different and what makes them stand out. So, but yeah, obviously, I'll tag you in stuff when this gets uploaded, and I'll post on Twitter or X. Huge shout out. Obviously, we mentioned them earlier to the sponsors of the show, FastCount. They've got a big cartel site. Obviously, hit Gunnar up for that T-shirt. And there's loads of other ones coming out as well soon that they've done. So hit me up for that. I run the FastCount Twitter account as well as Work the Left Side. So if you want to talk, now that you know that.
I know that. I only found that out the other day. So, there you go.
So I think Ben isn't sort of like, he's not overly comfortable on social. So he kind of saw what I was doing on Work the Left Side. And he's like, do you mind doing this for me? And I was like, yeah, mate, it's fine. And I hit the slippery slope of arguing with myself on Twitter over 2 accounts. And I was like, no. I'm like, sort of arguing like, oh, this is awesome. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Oh, fuck, I'm arguing with myself. What am I doing? So it's just
the work he's done for me is amazing. And he was a really nice guy and really easy to work with. Came up with loads of great ideas. So I'd recommend him a million times to anybody. So
there you go. And yeah, he shares me his ideas, and he's very open. Just tell him what you want. He'll do an early sketch. If you don't like it, he'll change it, and he'll check in it all the way along, every step of the process. And it just makes it very easy. Which, as you just said, it's just nice. You're not working with somebody who does something, and they're like, right, this is what I've done for you. If you don't like it, tough.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, obviously hit us up. Hopefully you already do. But it's WTLS 420 on Twitter. It is WTLS 316 on Instagram. And that's my boy Ash. Again, more confusion. I run FastCount's Twitter. I don't run the Work the Left Side Insta. That's Ash. So hit him up. The dude just loves his wrestling. If you want to talk to him about wrestling, he will give you a big hug and talk till your ears drop off. So hit Insta up, and yeah, keep your eyes peeled. I've got some May's guests announcements coming soon, and we've still got awesome stuff to come at the end of March and April. Hopefully I will be able to see and be able to research a bit for future episodes. So Mr. Rig, thank you for putting up with me this episode. I said to you before I started recording, I've kind of come in a little bit blind, so I apologize, but
literally.
Yeah, that's basically pun intended. That's kind of like, right? But no,
I've had a blast. Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it.
No, dude, honestly, mate, it's been my pleasure. So everybody else out there, hit like, hit subscribe, share, do all the stuff you do after watching a video on YouTube, and we will see you again very soon. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.